de mamão.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
It's Taco Tuesday!
Hey, bring it in, Kings fans. Look, we're starting full screen today. Bring it in. The sky is not falling. Yes, we're going to have some hard conversations. Hopefully, we can have some productive conversations around this team that's 2 games under 500. Last night was a hard loss. We're going to talk about what went wrong, what went right. We've also got some Jerry Jones for you today. It is a Jerry Tuesday. Now that Jerry Reynolds joins us on Wednesdays during the season, we're going to take your calls. We've also got this really disgusting thing going on later today. We might get into that a little bit more as well, but let's dig into it. Let's find some silver lining. After all, it's a holiday week, right? Let's try. By the way, Silver Linings Playbook, such a great movie. I think you can put that under the category of a Christmas movie, can't you? That's a Christmas movie. Anyway, see, we're getting sidetracked already. Also, last night, I had some rather harsh comments. I was ticked off. I was upset. And guess what? I still am upset. I'm going to try to reel it in a little bit. So I'd like to start the show saying,
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
That's right. I apologize to nobody for what I said last night about Mark Jones. Anyways, let's get into it. Let's have a great Tuesday. I want to hear from all of you. Welcome in. We're playing some music. Let's get after it. The King's Court on a Tuesday.
Needs to be more aggressive on the offensive end, but this is the time to Williams, the D-Box. Fox, goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
And welcome back in. Ryan and Sacktown with you. Tuesday edition of the King's Court. Got lots to talk about last night with the Kings and the Thunder. The Kings head out on a little bit of a road trip. They're going to Minnesota and then Portland. So we're going to get into the particulars around that. What needs to change for this team? There are some positives. Mike Brown put Keon Ellis into the starting lineup last night. We can hit on that some more. We've got post-game comments from a ton of people. We've got Malik. We've got Coach Brown. We've also got Keegan Murray. So we'll hear from all of them. You know, one of the things I usually prepare a ton of graphics for the show. If you pay attention or you watch the show regularly, you know we got a lot of graphics, right? Well, I didn't do that today. We have graphics. We'll do some screen shares. But what I did was I went back and watched the last 4 games. The Kings are on a 4-game losing streak. And I've tried to kind of figure out what's been different during that time. Now, granted, the Kings have not played their best basketball for the entire season. I think we can all agree on that. This team is much better, especially that starting 5. 1 through 7, 1 through 8. This team is way better than it's shown. And a couple of things jumped off the page to me. I'm going to dive into those, and I want to get your feedback as well. What's jumping off the page to you? Grant said it perfectly last night. And by the way, Grant will be back tonight. Did you hear him last night on the post-game show? I felt so bad. I was like, hey, Napes, let me get your take on this Thanksgiving pizza thing. Because Grant's one of those people. He's like, I don't care what you eat. It's you. You're putting it on your plate. You're the one eating it. I don't have to. But he was in the middle of and he still is, a 72-hour water fast. Really interesting. I've done some research on those. I'm sure some of you have done some fast before. Well, he'll be back tonight, 8 o'clock, and he'll still be on that water fast. It does not end until pretty much right after the show. So come join him for an open forum show. A lot of Kings talk. You can do NFL, you can do college football, whatever you want to talk about. He is here for it tonight. So get up in here with him. But anyways, yeah, I dug through the last week and a half. Obviously, the Kings without Malik Monk, that affects what the Kings do greatly, especially off the bench. This damn thing also showed up in the last couple weeks. You know, he just got shipped off to Cincinnati or Kansas City, wherever it may have been. But I got to think Royale has something to do with this losing streak that the Kings are dealing with. Did you hear De'Aaron Fox's reaction to seeing it for the first time? What the F is that? I think that was probably all of our reactions. But in all seriousness, I do have thoughts on what I think is changing with the Kings, because last night we saw a great first half against the best opponent the Kings have seen all season. And by the way, those that call, and I love De'Aaron Fox, I think De'Aaron's playing the best basketball that he has played since 22-23. These last 2-3 weeks, he's been the Western Conference Player of the Week. By the way, do you know who the reigning Western Conference Player of the Week is right now? Harrison Barnes. How about that? Harrison Barnes, reigning Western Conference Player of the Week. But De'Aaron's doing everything he can for this team. There's just a few things that are jumping off the page, and some of it's coaching, some of it is play. Certainly, much of it revolves around consistency. Last night, SGA showed you why there is a level of separation between De'Aaron and himself. SGA, that is an MVP candidate. MVP candidate who is younger, by the way, than De'Aaron Fox. He's team, the Thunder. They don't have that much more experience in the playoffs. They've been in the playoffs twice with SGA. Last year, they made it to the second round. So they're a young team on the rise, and the Kings played them well. And then the third quarter rolls around. What the hell happened in the third quarter? Give me your thoughts. We'll go over it again because I've got my thoughts. We're going to listen to Coach Brown. Also, we've got Jerry Jones. He's back. It is Tuesday. We will hear from Mr. Jones. And Mr. Jones, by the way, is coming off of a W. So he's in a little bit of a better mood. I'm going to give Jerry his flowers a couple of times. And I don't, who started that saying, by the way? Give them their flowers. I got to get that out of my vocabulary. Give them their flowers. I think we say that too much. I say it too much. I probably say it because I hear it from my son, who's 10 years old. And, you know, he's all hip and into all those same things that Mark Jones is into. So anyways, we got Jerry coming up here in a little bit. And all of you, you can use the QR code to call. You can also hit the link in the chat if you'd like to get up in here. A lot to discuss. Let's start here because we've talked about this at great length over the last couple days. I said, is Mike Brown going to get suspended? Is Mike Brown going to get fined? Well, it ended up being the latter. He's been fined $35,000 for aggressively pursuing an official. Mike Brown got off easy. He got off easy because it looked like he made contact with that official. And luckily, the official didn't toss him. So maybe it was the camera angle. Maybe some of us, I'm wrong in this sense that he didn't make contact. Usually the NBA is pretty strict about that. And that will usually result in a suspension. But $35,000 from Mike Brown. So that will make him need to continue asking for those discounts that he always asks for when he goes to different places, especially the Ritz-Carlton and whatnot. Yeah, there was a lot of talk about the officials last night. That's going to be part of what I talk about later today. So give me your thoughts on that. Yes, the Kings got a very tough whistle. They got a bad whistle in the third quarter. The refs, I don't get it some nights, and this was not a game that the Kings lost because of the referees. It wasn't. If anything, the Kings lost their composure, and that led to them and their downfall in that third quarter, or part of their downfall. But the refs, the consistency, it's got to be better, because we literally saw from the third quarter and the fourth quarter a massive swing on how the game was officiated. And those two swings were massive swings from the first half, when the game was officiated loosely, where they let the guys play. You saw Hartenstein get hit in the eye. That was kind of the turning point, when that inadvertent hand from Domantas Sabonis contacted Hartenstein. That was what kind of changed the tide for the referees, and they tried to pull the game in. The problem is, for me, and this is just my opinion, you can't ref it loosely and then try to take control of the game, especially in the second half. That completely changes the flow of the game. And arguably, you could say that's exactly what happened last night watching that game. So many fouls. The Kings had 4 team fouls 9.5 minutes into the third quarter. And then you flip the script into the fourth quarter. Oklahoma City had 3 or 4 team fouls early on into it. So really hard to ask both teams to adjust that much to a game that they are already 24, 30 minutes into, especially when a tone's been set, when you have a standard, a precedent of what's going to fly, what's not going to fly. Was there a couple opportunities for Mike Brown to possibly challenge? Yes, but I don't blame him for holding on to his challenge in the third quarter, because much like you all, I thought that the Kings were going to play the Thunder down the stretch. I thought he might need that challenge later into the fourth quarter. It did not end up going that way. The foul call on Malik Monk, the moving screen where Malik's just trying to get the hell out of the way, was garbage. That one, I think, could have possibly been overturned. But again, much bigger issues on the court last night besides that. So I rewatched the game. I've watched the last 4 losses for this team. In fact, I have stats that we'll put up for the last 4 games that the Kings have played that have all been losses. And the bright spot is this, y'all. Let me put this up for you, as I am still learning this whole stat share thing and the screen share thing, because our computer program that we use to stream to all of you to multiple sites, it's ever changing. They're always putting these updates in, and they never let us know. So yeah, I'm learning on the fly, but here we go. So here are the standings as we sit right now today. You notice right off the bat, the Kings out of the play-in. Oh, that is not updated. They are 8-10. Why did you not update? There we go. Kings 8-10 on the season. Now, here's the bright side of things. Look at the top of the Western Conference. They're only 6 games back. Now, I know 6 games it can seem like a lot, but this Western Conference is so unpredictable right now. They're 6 games out of the first place spot in the West. Play-in spot, they're what, 2 games out? So this can get corrected. I know Grant threw out a big number last night. 38-26 is what the Kings need to go the remainder of the season to finish with 46 wins. 46 wins is the number that Grant thinks gets the Kings into the playoffs, not the play-in. It's kind of a big ask, but the Kings do have a long stretch of games coming up at home where they've not been good. 4-6 on the season at home. If you're going to be, and we talked about it yesterday, Jerry Reynolds said, you got to win at least 30 games on your home court. So the Kings have some making up to do. The number that worries me the most here is the differential. Look at the Kings differential. That is what we call net rating. The Kings net rating is now only a plus 0.3. For us, that is the stat that tells you how consistent a team is. That tells you if a team is playing well. So sometimes you'll see teams like the Lakers, for instance. Look at the Lakers. They're sitting there in 4th. 10-5 on the season, but their net rating is a negative 0.5. So for me, that jumps off the charts. That tells me, even though the Lakers have a better record than the Kings, they might not be necessarily playing better basketball than the Kings. So pay attention to the number as you go along, because look at the other teams below the Kings in the West. You got Portland, who's playing better. By the way, I have an announcement coming up in a few minutes about that game. And then you also have Utah and New Orleans. New Orleans ravaged by injuries, absolutely ravaged. Are they going to do anything with Brandon Ingram? We'll see as the season goes along. But the Kings are inching closer and closer and closer to that negative net rating number. And that is the big thing for me that I am continuing to look at as we bring you back in and we stop the sharing. Very good. I said that I have an announcement. We're going to get to the chats here in just a few minutes. We're brought to you today, as always, by Bennett's West Side Grill in Rockland. Don't forget, they will be open, not just the Rockland location, but all 3 locations in the greater Sacramento area open on Thanksgiving. So if you don't plan on cooking, if you want to go out to eat, or you want to bring dinner in, you want to cook for the family, or you want to tell the family that you cooked for them, you can go pick it up at Bennett's, put it on a platter, put some flour on your apron, act like you did the work. Nah, don't do that. Bad karma. But no, seriously, Bennett's has great meals that are cooked fresh for you. Thanksgiving family meals that you can pick up, bring home, enjoy, let them do the work. Get to bennettsrestaurants.com and get those right now, because they usually sell out fairly quick. But again, if you can't get one of those, go check them out on Thanksgiving. They will be open. Also, a myriad of specials, great specials throughout the week and the weekend. Prime cuts of seafood and steak. That is Bennett's West Side Grill in Rockland, bennettsrestaurants.com. So the announcement that I have for Friday. So the Kings take on the Trailblazers on Friday. One of my buddies, my guy Chad, in Portland, he hosts the Rip City Drive on 620 out there. He is a radio host in Portland who follows the Trailblazers, analyzes the Trailblazers. Chad's going to be joining us here on the show Friday. So we're going to do a special show. We're going to do a show before the pregame where Chad will come in. We're going to talk about the Blazers. We'll talk about the West. We'll talk about the Kings. Grant's going to hopefully be joining that show as well. Really excited to have Chad here on the channel. He knows his stuff. Really great guy. Incredible basketball mind. Can't wait for Chad to join us on Friday. 5 p.m. Mark your calendars. Chad will be joining us again. Chad in Portland of the Rip City Drive with Chad on Sports Radio 620 in Portland. Can't wait to catch up with him. I will also at some point be going on his show to talk about the Kings, so I'll keep you posted on that. But I think you guys are going to really enjoy the conversation that we have with Chad in Portland, man. Let me tell you, they are playing much better basketball. Yeah, Chad is a good dude, folks. Love him. Haunted Horse, correct me if I'm wrong. Chad guest hosted the Jim Rome show, correct? I believe you told me that Chad guest hosted the Jim Rome show. Yeah, for those that don't know, Chad, before he made the jump into radio, he was also a clone. If you are a Jim Rome follower, you will want to hear what he has to say. There you go. That's somebody that has a very poor choice in food and frozen pizzas, but somebody that lives in Portland and listens to Chad on a regular basis. Thanks for picking us up, Horse. Yes, he did guest host the Jim Rome show. There you go. By the way, you guys want the update on the pizza? I will give you the quick update before we get to audio from last night and start breaking this thing down. I went out again today in search of this damn Thanksgiving pizza in good faith, because I was so disappointed. I was so crushed that I was not going to get to join my friends in enjoying this frozen delicacy, this gem of an idea. I went out to another store today. Unfortunately, that store did not have the Thanksgiving pizza. So breaking news here on the channel, I will be commentating. I will do the play-by-play for everybody at 5 o'clock tonight when Haunted Horse ends up chowing down on the Thanksgiving pizza along with some others. I believe Tyler, one of our buddies from Wisconsin, is getting down on it. A lot of the clones are going to be getting in on that broadcast. So make sure that you go check that out at hollywoodrejects.com. The Waterhole with Rhino and Horse. Horse will be eating the Thanksgiving pizza. Yeah, you can't eat yours because you're on a water fast. Yeah, I don't think so, Horse. I'm going to call BS on that. You can't wait to dive into that pizza, my man. You cannot wait. And you know what? It's funny. Red Baron, believe it or not, Red Baron, their official Twitter page or X page, they hopped in on this conversation that's been going on between Horse, some of you that are in the chat, and then also just the other people that follow me on the X. So even Red Baron weighed in on this situation. Thank you to them for chiming in on it. All right, let's talk some Kings. That's what we're all here for. Kings Thunder last night, a really disappointing night. In fact, you know what? Let's get to your chats and then we will talk Kings. I bet we can mix in some of that sound with what's going on. Let's see. Great intro. Appreciate it. Mark Jones is terrible. Yeah, you know, I went back and I listened to Stephen A. Smith's rant. For those that are unfamiliar with Mark Jones, I'm not going to recap everything because I don't want to give this guy too much run. And I don't want to make it seem like I am out to get this guy. I just feel like I'm speaking for a lot of people. Grant gets blown up on his social. I get blown up on my social about mistakes that are being made, things that are being said, innuendos here, innuendos there. And so, you know, I'm not trying to be biased. I'm not trying to be somebody that is a quote unquote hater. I'm trying to call it as I see it. And I've really held back. But when this last round of stuff came out with Mark Jones, leaving social media because it's a too hateful place. Well, here's a newsflash for everybody. Did you know Mark Jones hasn't even left the X? I thought you were leaving the X, Mark. Your account is still there, my man. Just saying, you know, for that really smart swan song that you put out. Your account's still there, dude. Thought you were leaving. No? Can't leave? Just looking for attention? All right, maybe. But anyways, I listened to Stephen A. Smith's comments addressing what Mark had said and liked that was very it was bigoted, it was racist. In fact, both of them worked for ESPN at the time. That's a coworker. Imagine if any of us called a coworker a racist name. Whether it's racist towards black, white, yellow, green, purple, it doesn't matter. You're getting called into HR. Well, that didn't happen at ESPN, but Stephen A. Smith set the record straight. So I encourage all of you to go check that out.
That don't make no sense.
No, it did not make any sense that ESPN did not go after that. Appreciate it, Johnny. Went on a 5-day water fast almost 2 years ago, by the way. I just want to know if Grant's ready for Christmas. You know, Afghanistan, Grant said he is already ready for Christmas. Believe it or not, that came up like 2 or 3 weeks ago because it's inevitable. Every show we do, especially the post-game shows, somebody, and by the way, thank you all. We were looking earlier today at the analytics. We were also looking at the numbers on YouTube just to give you an idea. NBC Sports California put out a recap video of last night's game with some analysts or some analysis from their studio staff, which includes one of my guys, one of my friends, Mike Bibby. It only had 400 views 12 hours later. Just so you know, on YouTube, we were already up to 1.2K 12 hours later. So thank you all for making this the place for your post games. We so very much appreciate it. And it's why we run through the wall to hopefully bring you the best coverage and at least give you the best forum to share your thoughts on this team. There's a lot of good places out there to go, but I feel like here you get the balance of the sugar and the salt. We don't always just sugarcoat things. We don't always look at the bright side. We point out the flaws. And it's something Grant actually did his entire career. He made a living off of it, even though he was calling games for the Kings. He did that on his radio show. So I think that's something that kind of separates us, but it's all of you too. You guys make the conversation better more times than not. And when I say more times than not, the not is referring to guys like Eric, who, damn, man, I was trying to get you another chance. It's also referring to guys like Peaches Johnson. What was the other one that Peaches used? It was ridiculous. So people like that, you're always going to have a few of them. In fact, somebody asked us the other night about how you deal with trolls. Anyways, all right. Grant is ready for Christmas, though. I can assure you that. Dennis, shout out to HB averaging 23 and 8. Yeah, he's doing work. He's doing work. Yes, find indeed. Dennis says we lost energy. It was like plain red light, green light. Kings saw red and they saw green, or OKC saw green. Well, that's what happens when teams get to the foul lines. It kills the flow of a game. Accidental contact, you called it. Yeah, Dennis, you're so funny, dude. I don't think anybody gets into my DMs more than Dennis. And this dude is not afraid to be like, yo, I called that shot. I said that. I told you my eyes don't lie. Usually I'd be like, slow down with the DMs. Like, slow them down, please. Because it's basically now like a text message thread, like one of my friends that I would be texting. But Dennis, you cracked me up, dude. All good. Keep them coming. Not a problem. That's a chunk of change. $35,000. It is. Biggest criticism you can have of Jerry Jones is he's stayed too loyal to loser quarterbacks. Otherwise, the old guys ran circles around my Giants GMs for nearly 15 years. Fair enough. You know, Jerry did address his quarterback situation today. We'll get to it here in a little bit. Hey, Johnny Finch.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
I love the background of that. Yeah. Dennis again. Where did Daniel Jones go? Raiders. I think he's still out there. You know, Daniel Jones' best play, in my opinion, is sign in someplace for 7 weeks. Sign for 7 weeks, sign through the rest of the season. Jim Rome, and it was the only part of the show that I caught today. He had Andrew Brandt on his show, and Andrew Brandt does a business of sports segment. He was an agent for a long time, and he's like, yeah, I would advise 7 weeks unless you get a team that is willing to guarantee starter money through the end of next year. And I agree with him because there always ends up being a couple teams, the Raiders, who need a quarterback when the season's getting close. So it'll be interesting to see where he shows up. What if Danny Dimes gets a ring this year? Wouldn't that be something? Joey, welcome in. Happy to have you here today, bud. If the Kings did do a 1-for-1 trade and upgraded a position, it would not solve the depth issues, Ryan. Correct. You're absolutely right. It would not solve the depth issues. If you just go 1-for-1, it does not solve the minute issues. Look, you can't. And here's the other thing. The Stockton guys, a lot of talk about Isaac Jones, a lot of talk about Orlando Robinson. I'm going to throw Colby Jones into the conversation as a Stockton guy. They're also playing in Stockton. So I know they're not getting a ton of minutes here in Sacramento, but they're bouncing back and forth between two teams. And when they're in Stockton, they're playing a lot of minutes. So those guys are getting some tread on their tires as well. Now, granted, they need the experience. You know, if you're going to polish anyone up, although Isaac is a little freakier when it comes to athleticism, I'm still polishing up Orlando Robinson because he can shoot the 3 ball and he can spread the floor. if I were the Kings, although you want him to stay sharp, you want to get him some minutes down in Stockton, and Stockton knows what they are doing, by the way. Gabe Harris has done an incredible job. Lindsey Harding, no longer there. Last year's reigning coach of the year in the G League. Now it's Quentin Richardson, who is the head coach. But Stockton's balling out right now. They've only lost one game this season. They're doing really well. So you want to keep him sharp down there. But I want to get him as much time as I can with this group, especially when it comes to being on the road. And he was on the road early in the season with this team when he was recovering from that sprained MCL. So I'm looking at him because that's kind of the position of need. Isaac is freaky and good in spots, but I think you saw some of the limitations last night. And that's how it's going to be with many of the G League players. I said it many times last year about some of the guys that were coming up and down, Mason, Slauson. You'll have plays where they look incredible. These guys can play in the NBA. They have their flashes, but then there's the basic things. Even Colby against the Nets, when he had to bring the ball up from the baseline to the half court, he almost lost it. And there was just a little bit of pressure on him. So those are the subtle differences in the NBA, but maybe you can shine somebody up and work them into a few minutes here, a few minutes there, which helps the bench depth. But yeah, you need more guys, Joey. You need more guys. And then you got to think about making the salaries work as well. There's that whole aspect of it. Let's see. Haunted Horse still going. We already went over those. Grant would crush that pizza after his fasting. He probably would. Adam, what's up, dude? Welcome to the party. What's up, Al? I can't listen to Stephen A. Smith. Just another clown. Fair enough. Not a problem with that. If you have half of the career Mark Jones has had in media, you can thank your lucky stars. Yeah. Hey, no denying that. Absolutely. Does that make Skip Bayless really good at his job too? I get what you're saying. No doubting that. But that doesn't make you... anyways, okay. So my issue is not with his success. Dude is working for ESPN. Dude is got one of the 30 jobs in this world calling NBA basketball for a team. One of 30. That's not my issue. Not his success. It's about other things. It's about talking down to all of you in this fan base. It's not going to make it about Mark Jones. I know I brought it up. I want to move off of it, but if you guys want to keep talking about it, I guess we can keep going as long as it's a productive conversation. You guys are very honest and are fair. Appreciate that. Joey, lots of bad places too. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Dennis, good dude. Franklin, on my way to look for Thanksgiving pizza in Nevada area right now. Want me to get you one if there's an extra, Ryan? You know what, Franklin? It is such a nice offer, dude. You know what? Just you offering is the same as you getting one. It's the gesture that counts. Nobody. If you end up getting one, enjoy it. If you want to get a second for yourself, enjoy it for me. But I really appreciate it. I could not accept that. I really could not. I wouldn't feel right. And look at now he's getting advice on how to get the pizza. Oh my gosh. We haven't even gotten to the Kings and the pizza is jumping the show today. Holy crap. Peter, what's up? Posted on your, there you go. The 9 p.m. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not going to be good. Riley, I saw something today that Bronny is ranked 357th out of 360 in the G League. Well, here's the problem with that, Al, is Bronny's only playing home games for the South Bay Lakers. He is not playing away games. And in fact, somebody took a swipe. Charles Barkley took a swipe at the Lakers for that. And I don't disagree with Charles. I've said this since Bronny was drafted. Bronny needs the G League, and the G League needs Bronny. Has to. He's not getting enough consistent run. And that is what is most important for development. It's going through the process. You can't go through the process that Keon Ellis went through by jumping back and forth between the G League team and the NBA team, because there's so much more limited, or there's less time on the NBA side for the development that Bronny needs. It's more about travel. It's about routine. It's about getting loose. That's really what shoot-arounds are. They're walkthroughs, and it's getting a couple shots up. So you're not typically practicing on the road. Many already know that. But yeah, Bronny needs as many reps as he can get. He's one of those. He's a prototypical G League player with potential. Shows flashes here and there, but does not carry the tools to be able to play full-time in the NBA yet. And it's the basic fundamental things that I'm talking about. Those are the things that are the game changers for guys trying to make the jump between the two. And that's what made Keon Ellis really so special. His ability to make that seamless jump. And a lot of these guys from Stockton have been able to do that. Stockton has prepared their guys well. They prepared them for the exact situations that they would get here in Sacramento. It wasn't like, hey, Keon, go score 40 points for us. Because when Keon eventually comes to Sacramento, the team's not going to be asking Keon to score 40 points. They're going to be asking him to be able to defend, to be in the right spot with his rotations defensively, to be able to understand the offense, to be able to create for your teammates in certain situations. And that's a word we're going to get to in a little bit, create, because that's part of the problem of what's going on with Sacramento. But yeah, the Stockton's doing it the right way. And any G League, I would say this, Stockton is near the top of the G League in terms of the way that front offices and organizations are ran. And yes, Stockton is under the same umbrella as Sacramento, but the collaboration between the two, it really is one of those programs that you want to model your team after if you're a G League team looking for success right now. Anyways, all right, let's get to last night. We'll take that disgusting atrocity off the screen. The Kings and the Thunder, really disappointing. We saw a great first half from Sacramento. We saw a balanced first half. They had 17 assists, the Kings, in the first half. Now, granted, there was definitely things the Kings struggled at defending. That was part of the problem. But I thought in that first half that there was a bunch of really good shot making by OKC. OKC was being forced at times, and it was polar opposites. OKC was either being asked to take a very difficult shot or they were getting a wide open shot. There wasn't much in between. And credit to OKC, they were converting on a lot of those difficult shots. I thought that the game plan, the fact that you started Keon Ellis last night, that was a good change. We have been talking about that for how long on this channel? And I thought the offense looked better. One big difference that you noticed right out of the gate was Keegan Murray got more shots. Now, Keegan did not convert those shots as much as you would like him to, but he got more looks. That is a guy that you need to get looks for. So we talk about rhythm all the time. Rhythm is so important, not just to Keegan, but to every player on the court. And the guys that are the most special in the NBA, the best players of all time, they can get into their rhythm in any way possible. That's what separates them from others. So we talked at halftime. We said, hey, this has got to be a big third quarter. The Kings net rating in third quarters this season, 0.5. That's pretty damn good. Or 2.3, excuse me. That's pretty damn good. Can they come out, have that third quarter? And what happens? The Kings come out and they lose their composure. We talked about the ref show. We talked about the refs changing the whistle last night, and they did. It affected the Kings not only with the pace of the game, but it affected them mentally. For the first time this year, we saw the team lose their composure. And unfortunately, it came against the best opponent that they had played to date. And things from there began to unravel. DSC, that pizza looks like it put me to sleep for 3 days, right? Not in a good way. It might put you to sleep permanently eating that thing, man. I just frozen gravy, anybody? I can get with frozen green beans. Don't have a problem with that. Frozen mashed potatoes? Now, there is an argument about frozen mashed potatoes. Not going to lie. Every now and again, a damn good Salisbury steak from the frozen aisle with the lava mashed potatoes, the ones that get way too hot when you microwave them for like 30 seconds. Sometimes it hits the spot. I'm not going to lie. But on a pizza, ooh, I don't know. Really big ask. Let's see. Colorado just beat Connecticut. Good for them in men's basketball. UConn, Justin, UConn was down 9 yesterday in their game. And by the way, to me, this is officially the start of the college season with the Maui Invitational. So happy that game or that tournament is back in the gym at Maui in Lahaina. That's huge. And by the way, that gym is literally a high school gym. I have played I didn't play in the game, but I've been in that gym sitting on the bench in a game. So yes, that is such a fun place and such a special tournament. The fact they had to move it away because of the fires a couple of years ago broke my heart, but very cool. Good for UConn. UConn fans are shocked. Yeah. Hey, the Maui Invitational, by the way, not to get sidetracked here, they do such a great job of taking care of the teams and their families, because you're basically spending your holiday over there in Maui. And I know it's like, oh, Rhino, really, really tough life, right? You're spending your holiday in Maui, Thanksgiving. I bet that sucks. You're having a luau on the beach for things. Yeah, I get it. But they do a good job of making them feel incredibly at home and embracing them with the events that they put on outside of the actual basketball game. So credit to them. Shoot. Look, well, at least you're in Maui and it's early in the season. Basketball and even college football to a degree, it's so unpredictable. Even basketball more, because you can jump straight to the NBA after 1 year of college. And now you have the transfer portal, which changes things across the board. You can be good 1 year and terrible the next, and vice versa. So when they come out with these preseason rankings, and maybe UConn is the exception to the rule because they are consistently good. Dan Hurley, notorious for traveling with his own portable washing machine because of his lucky pair of underwear. I have all the respect in the world, by the way, for Dan Hurley. He's put our team, our alma mater, San Diego State, out of the tournament now a couple times, once in the national championship. But yeah, that's rough. But hey, you know what? Good upstart win for Colorado. How about that? And Colorado just lost Cody Williams. He was their big guy last year. So anyways, okay, so we have more things to discuss. Trades, possibility of switching coaches, current situation's not working. What can we even get for what we have? Who would be a better fit? So like most of those questions, it's way too early to answer. Way too early. The questions that I'm looking to answer today and the answers that I've been looking for are within the group that you have right now. No, you're not going to switch coaches this season. I would be absolutely shocked if Vivek did that. As for who could we get? These are your options trade-wise. You have 4 assets, in my opinion. You have 4 tradable assets that actually have some value on the market. The first, Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray's number 1. Year and a half left on his contract. The second, De'Aaron Fox. Year and a half left on his contract. De'Aaron's hoping to hold out for the Supermax. We know that, right? Why don't we take down the OKC thing since we're not talking about OKC? We'll get back to it here in a second, and we'll mix in some audio from last night. You've got OKC, or excuse me, not OKC. You've got Foxy. You've got Keegan. Okay. Third, you have Kevin Huerter. Now, Kevin Huerter is not necessarily a piece that is going to be desirable on his own, in my opinion. Kevin Huerter is more of a tag along to a bigger deal. Same thing could possibly be said about Trey Lyles, but with Trey's injury history the last year and a half and his play offensively and the fact that his contract expires at the end of this year, I don't think it's an asset. Now, here's the name that nobody's talking about in Sacramento. Here's number 4, Devin Carter. Devin Carter could also be a tradable asset for this team. Not only because there is a lot of circles in the NBA, certainly the Kings, that feel his ceiling is high, but with the new CBA, you get him for 4 years on a set pay schedule, a rookie pay schedule. The new CBA limits teams because of the aprons and the new cap. So that is very valuable, super valuable to a team that might be very close to contending or right there and contending, or to a team that's rebuilding. So those are your 4 assets that the Kings realistically could trade and return or get in return some decent value. So, yeah, I know you just signed him. Yeah. Oh, the Kings signed Jay Crowder. Really? Did that just come in? We just got Jay Crowder. Shams reporting. Interesting. All right. Well, let's see. Let's break it down. Let's go really quick to Shams. Good job by you guys. Call in with your thoughts. Jerry Reynolds has had his thoughts on Jay Crowder. Free agent. This is per Shams 3 minutes ago. Per Shams, free agent Jay Crowder is close to a deal with the Sacramento Kings. Sources tell ESPN at 6'10" and dealing with some injuries, Kings are 8-10. The Kings are working to add front court depth with the 13-year-old NBA veteran who has made 2 finals appearances since 2020. Interesting. Don't hate the move. It's a name that the Kings have been tied to. Jay was here earlier this summer doing some of the workouts, the open gyms with the Kings when they were here in September, something that many veterans that are looking for a team, they'll reach out, their agents will reach out. But look, Jerry Reynolds thought there were better fits out there for Jay Crowder. He did. But he said the caveat was if you brought in Jay Crowder, you would need to have minutes for him. Jay Crowder was not exactly a model citizen in Milwaukee when he wasn't getting minutes last year. So, that being said, you now have minutes for Jay Crowder with Trey Lyles' injury and even with Trey Lyles on this roster. So, I don't hate the move. What's the downside of the move? Now, we need to find out what the financials are. You know what Jay Crowder is. He's not going to make you any better defensively. He can shoot the 3. Now, as for motion offense, spray and kick, you now have another guy that is a finisher and not a creator, but you have a guy that can shoot the 3, that has been on winning teams. So what are your thoughts? Put them in the chat. Breaking news here on the channel. Jay Crowder, per Shams, is close to a deal with the Kings. Somebody that can make 3-pointers. Guru Zach hopping in. Says he's close to a deal with the Kings. This guy is going to turn the team around and get us to the playoffs. Stop, Zach. Zach, This signing is not all that different from Doug McDermott, my man. Zach. It's not all that different from Doug McDermott. The difference is you need bodies right now if you're Sacramento. I don't hate the move. I'm not hating on the move, but Jay Crowder is not turning this season around. There's a lot more that needs to be fixed. Jay Crowder is not the magic pill to put this team back into playoff contention. It's not. It's a good move if the money makes sense. A lot of you have been calling for Monty McNair to make a move. We'll go over Jay's numbers here in a second. There's a reason why dude's a free agent. Yeah, that's the first thing you're going to hear from Grant when he comes on at 8 o'clock tonight. I don't know how to feel about the addition. Crowder is on the back nine. He absolutely is, Alberto. Again, this is not that. Jay Crowder was available when Doug McDermott was available. The Kings went Doug McDermott. So you got to remember that. The Kings chose Doug McDermott over Jay Crowder. So to me, Jay does not put this team back on track. I don't think he hurts the team. There's minutes there to be played. The Kings are thin at that position. Mike's bench has not been good. I've said it's been closer to a G League bench than an NBA bench. But Zach, come on the show if you can. I would love to hear your justification. Let's have a conversation about it, dude. You think it's that important of a signing? Interesting. Haunted Horse still talking about the pizza. Jay Crowder said he would only sign with the Kings if they give him a year's supply of Thanksgiving pizza. Oh my gosh. He said not serious at the end. Oh, my bad. My bad, Zach. My bad. My bad, dude. My bad. See, I'm moving too fast. Peter, Kings coach Mike Brown. Yep, we hit that at the beginning of the show. The breaking news, though. Breaking news, Jay Crowder. And get up in here, by the way. I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the signing? Shams is reporting that Jay Crowder is close to signing a deal with the Kings. That makes a lot of sense. Given the injury to Trey Lyles, another calf injury that has kept him out a lot over the past couple seasons. Jay Crowder, well-traveled, been on some very good teams, known for shooting the three ball. Looking at his stats last year, Jay Crowder played 50 games. He averaged 23.1 minutes a game, 6.2 points, shot the ball at a 42.2% clip, 3-point percentage, 34.9, rebounds, 3.2, assists, 1.3, steals, 0.8. The year before that, for the Bucks, he only played 18 games, averaged 18.9 minutes that season. Percentages a little bit higher, but he only played 18 games. So you have to consider that. The years before that, 2 of them, he was with Phoenix. In Phoenix, 67 games in 60, respectfully. Averaged 28.1, 27.5 minutes per game. 9.4 points, 10.1 points, respectfully, in those seasons. As we continue going, get your chats in here. Let me know what you think. We will get this pulled up really quick and throw Sham's tweet onto the screen. What are your thoughts? We have not even got to what Malik Monk said about the Kings. So we're going to get to that as well. Let's put this on the screen for now. Again, hang with me as I get this navigated. We got breaking news going on the show. The Kings signing Jay Crowder, according to Shams. So call in with your thoughts. Let me know what you are thinking. According to Shams, the Kings close to a deal with Jay Crowder. I ask and he delivers. NBA guru. What's up, dude?
How you doing right now?
Good. Thanks for coming in, brother.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's gonna. It's the biggest piece coming, changing our whole team, changing the whole playoffs, and that's not gonna happen with this guy. But I think an underrated part about this is that, like you were saying, he's been on some good teams. He's been in the finals, and hopefully, just that veteran presence, just kind of motivating the team a little bit. I mean, that's got to be something. Hopefully, that's the key that I'm looking at more than anything, to be honest, because he's not going to be a game changer. I mean, making.
You there, Zach? Zach. All right. We'll put Zach back in the audience for a second. See if we can get him back. Yes, the breaking news, Jay Crowder signing allegedly or close to a deal with the Sacramento Kings. Again, I go back to what Jerry Reynolds said about this. It's really important. Jerry Reynolds did not hate the move as long as, yes, I know he was frozen. I know. Got it. Thank you.
Acknowledge me.
Horse is like frozen. He's producing the show from Portland. Jay Crowder, Jerry did not hate the move. And either did I, with the caveat that minutes would be available for Jay Crowder. And they are right now on this team. Alberto, it's crazy for Stockton to sign LiAngelo Ball. Or is it crazy? He's a streaky shooter at times. Kings desperately need a three-point shooter. Yeah, it's completely crazy. You're going to develop Boogie Ellis 10 times more. You're going to work way overtime with Boogie Ellis before you're bringing him in. And plus, what about the concerns off the court with him? Got to think about that. As we continue to digest the news about Jay Crowder, according to Shams, here was Malik Monk after last night's game.
The lack of ball movement. I feel like we get in the paint and kick. Then sometimes when the quarters are bad, we get in there and try to finish ourselves. So it's something to look in the mirror about.
And the most notable thing that Malik said last night, I know this has been floating around, and if you didn't hear it the way Malik said it, you might think that it had a little bit more teeth, but Malik was asked about, is there concern in the locker room? Has anybody spoken up? Here's what Malik Monk had to say. Also a little bit about what's going on at home, why the Kings aren't playing well there.
I feel like we got a veteran team now with a few young guys, so we know how to turn it around. Domar's going to say a few things. I'm going to say a few things. Fox will say a few things. And DeMar will say a few things. So we got to turn it around quick, though.
Why can't you guys? What's the issue here at home? 4-6 at home. Like, you guys usually are really good here at the Golden One Center.
Shit, I don't know.
Simple as that?
Yeah.
You said you guys are going to say something, or you have said something?
We're going to say something. Okay. I feel like we always say something after every loss. So tomorrow we'll probably say something when we get to Minnesota.
So tomorrow, expected that Malik Monk and the guys will speak to the team. That's already gone on a couple times. We've talked about it. DSC, veteran presence and moral support. Sounds like Harrison Barnes. What are we doing? It feels like grasping at straws. Yeah, it is. Not a bad way to put it. Hope it works out. Tired of wholesale changes and perennially being bad. Peter, Malik Monk did say in the Pizza Guys commercial that he stayed for the pizza. Yeah, DiGiorno's Thanksgiving pizza isn't on the Pizza Guys menu. Yes, we already hit that one. But yeah, breaking news. Zach is always in the know. Yeah, Zach's pretty damn good. He has been on the pregame show with me a few times, breaking it down and talking about the games. But back to Jay Crowder and DSC's comment. Would you rather the Kings not do anything? The Kings are doing something, so you have to be okay with that. You have limited options. Trades this time of season are not usually normal. You have to have a partner who's willing to trade. And remember, just like the Kings, we talk about 25 games to really understand who this team is. Other teams are trying to figure out who their teams are, who's going to be in their rotations, who they may be able to part with later. That usually comes more around the trade deadline after the start of the new year. So the other flip side of that is you could overpay very early if you find a trade partner. Because if you're looking to trade this early, there's a reason you're looking to trade this early. Things are probably not going too well for you. And things have not been going well for the Kings. They're on a 4-game losing streak. Let's replay that audio one more time from Malik Monk. Donald did not catch it.
I feel like we got a veteran team now with a few young guys, so we know how to turn it around. Domar's going to say a few things. I'm going to say a few things. Fox will say a few things. And DeMar will say a few things. So we got to turn it around quick, though.
Why can't you guys? What's the issue here at home? 4-6 at home. Like, you guys usually are really good here at the Golden One Center.
Shit, I don't know.
Simple as that?
Yeah.
He said you guys are going to say something, or you have said something?
We're going to say something. Okay. I feel like we always say something after every loss. So tomorrow we'll probably say something when we get to Minnesota.
You know who's really excited about this move? You know who inside is probably jumping up and down a little bit? It's Mike Brown. This is least makes his bench a little bit deeper. Now, as for the roster spot, that's something that we also need to talk about. I believe the Kings had a roster spot available. You've got your 3 two-ways. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The Kings, I do believe, have a roster. I let me confirm that. I don't want to put that out there until I can confirm that. But is there a subsequent move coming from this? Remember, Orlando Robinson's contract, I believe, is not guaranteed. Do not quote me, but I don't believe his contract is guaranteed until 2025. So particulars we will have to work out. Grant at 8 o'clock tonight will have much more on the particulars. In fact, I will join him tonight at 8 o'clock. We can talk about those things, roster spots, the money, what this changes as more news comes out on this. But again, Shams is reporting that Jay Crowder is close to a deal with the Sacramento Kings, and Mike Brown has to be jumping up and down inside over this deal just because it is extra manpower. You now have some extra help on the bench. Jerry Reynolds, I go back to this, said that if you bring Jay Crowder in, you got to have minutes for him. The minutes are there right now for Jay Crowder. Is Drew Timme ready to come up? No, he is not, in my opinion. He is not. Call Sean Cunningham. Yeah, I'm not going to put Sean on the spot like that. And I'm kind of hosting a show right now, so it'd be tough to give him a call at the moment. But my phone is blowing up. I can tell you that much. I'm looking at it just go off and off and off about the signing. So looking forward to checking that out, see if there's any additional information there. Yeah, one spot open. That's what I thought too, Dennis. In fact, I'm almost certain they have one spot open on that roster because it's 15. So this makes a lot of sense. Jay Crowder, I'm not familiar. Donald, journeyman NBA player, 6'6". He's got a 6'9" wingspan. He's played for some contenders. Most notably, he was a part of the Milwaukee teams who were contending. Also played with the Suns, played with the Jazz, the Grizzlies, the Cavs, the Celtics. So again, a journeyman. The Celtics teams that he played with, I believe Jay won a championship with the Celtics. Don't quote me there. I would have to go back and check that. But he's a journeyman. He's a wing player. He's 34 years old. He's not somebody that's going to come in and help your defense. He's not. But he can shoot the three ball well. Again, last season, Jay Crowder played 50 games for the Bucks, scored played 23.1 minutes per game, averaged 6.2 points, shot 42.2% from the field, 34.9% from beyond the arc. Orlando, thank you, Peter, for picking us up. Orlando is guaranteed $500K, but full guarantee not until. So I was right. Good job by Peter picking us up there. I am not the Shams of Sacramento, but thanks for the sentiment. I appreciate it. DSC, he's an older player, 34 years old, 3-point specialist. That is correct. I'm a huge Jay Crowder guy. All right, there you go. My pleasure. Patrick's in the house. I did not see Patrick. Patrick is very familiar with Jay Crowder, those Knicks and Celtics rivalries. Better Bennett's than Thanksgiving pizza. Oh, boy. Yes, we do have the Thanksgiving pizza coming up later tonight. Not on this channel, though. I guess we'll see how he's utilized here. Look, he's not going to be utilized any different than he is going to be, in my opinion, and excuse me with the sunlight coming through at the moment, he is going to be utilized as pretty much in between a Doug McDermott and a Trey Lyles. Now, he's not going to be getting, if the Kings have a full deck to play with, Trey Lyles is getting those minutes over Jay Crowder most likely, but with Trey Lyles up in the air, going out last night with a calf injury, he's going to probably see a big majority of the minutes that Trey Lyles was getting. He probably will until Trey is ready to go. But if you're thinking that Jay Crowder changes the season for the Kings, he doesn't. He was available. The Kings could have gotten Jay Crowder when they got Doug McDermott. They didn't. They chose Doug McDermott. So it's better than doing nothing. I completely agree. The guy can shoot the three ball. He's a veteran. If you have minutes for him, it's much better. Is he in shape? I have no idea, Alberto. I mean, certainly these guys keep themselves in shape, even if you are not in the NBA, but you're looking to land on a team. Yeah, you're keeping yourself in shape. But remember, there's a big difference between keeping yourself in shape, in NBA shape, in season shape. So there will probably be a little bit of a transition if this does go through. And again, we're going off a Shams report right here that we will put back up for you. But if this is, in fact, going through and Jay Crowder signs with the Kings, you would probably expect that he will meet them on this road trip in Minnesota. My guess is he will meet the team. I've heard nothing from the team. I have talked to nobody with the team at this point, but you would expect he would probably be on his way to Minnesota if he's not already here in Sacramento right now, because the Kings typically fly out 3:00 the day before a game, late afternoon, the day before a game. They are flying out to the next city. So there you go. DSC, he's been in the finals and deep in the playoffs a few times, but not a champ. There you go. Thanks for picking us up. Will Monty still make another move with trades? Absolutely. Jay Crowder is not the move that balances this team out. Jay Crowder is another guy that can shoot the ball. He's closer to the end of his career than the beginning. 3-point specialist, defense, nothing special. Now, one thing that I have not said yet, Jay Crowder's scrappy. Jay Crowder comes with a little bit of an attitude, something many people say the Kings have needed for a while. So there is that as well. Let's try this guy again. Let's bring the guru back in. Zach, welcome in.
How you guys doing?
Good.
So I was talking about Jay Crowder, veteran presence. I just feel like hopefully the best thing that could come out of this is, it is, I guess, some more depth, but just that he has some finals appearances just to get maybe motivate this team, a veteran guy to kind of bring up the spirits of this. I feel like we need a little pep in our step where we're not playing with that energy that I feel like we are used to, and that's just one of the keys that I think that he can bring to the table.
I don't disagree. Zach, what do you think his role is here in Sacramento?
I mean, I think you hit on the money. He's going to be between that Doug McDermott, Trey Lyles. It's kind of dumb to me that I think we should have gotten him over Doug McDermott in the first place. I thought I wanted Jay Crowder from the beginning just to get some defense, and he can hit the open three as well. I mean, Doug can't even do that, and that's the only thing he's supposed to be good at. So I was really hoping to get Jay over him. But I mean, I wanted to also just talk about the three keys, or what I think the three keys are for this team to get back on track. Um, the number one, and each staff member has has a part, because I think it's a whole team thing, from all the way up to all the way down, right? So I think from we need a better bench. That's Monty McNair's problem. He's got to be fixing that. He's trying to get Jay Crowder. That's obviously not going to do enough for right now, at least what I think. So that's one. Mike Brown's got to do a different strategy for our defense for 3-pointers. I think that needs to be revamped. And number three, our guys need to make threes. That's a huge one as well. So I was just trying to see what your thoughts on all those three keys.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with all those. I think the narrative, and we haven't gotten any of the sound from Coach Brown last night, that, we just need to keep getting open shots. We need to quit trying to challenge at the rim. Well, Mike, when you have guys that are trying to work themselves into a rhythm and they're not hitting shots, guess what? You get to the rim a lot of times. And I guess I'm kind of getting to the point sometimes when we hear Coach Brown, or at least early on in this season, just harp on the same thing. Zach, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And during this losing streak, during the last, 2-3 weeks, it feels like that has been the approach from Coach Brown, ignoring some of the other elements in the room. And he talked about, or elephants, I should say. He did talk about the defense, though, a little bit last night in the on-ball defense. That has to get better. But, touching the paint and spraying the ball, it's not as simple as that. This is not a team, Zach, in my opinion, that is equipped to make plays. You can't ask everybody on this roster to go out and touch the paint and spray the ball, because your roster, and now with the addition of Jay Crowder, it basically consists of mostly only finishers. You only have a few creators, and you're asking finishers to go out and create. That's the premise of the offense. But what Coach Brown, and Zach, I'll kick this to you, what recourse does Coach Brown have? He doesn't have the bench to sit somebody down because they're not playing well or not doing what he wants them to do. So there's not a lot of bark behind the bite either.
Yeah, it's tough. I do think offensively, we are getting some open shots. I know there's a bunch of stats that are coming out how all of our players are missing their wide open threes, and that's got to improve. I mean, we're getting open looks, but also to your point, we can't have finishers be creators. Our team is just not athletic and lengthy to get to the paint, to be honest, other than like Fox. And to be that facilitator, creator that we need. It's basically the two creators we basically have off the ball is basically Monk and Fox. And DeMar is just ISO mode, mid-ranger. So there's a few things that are going on offensively. I mean, I know they want the pace to be much faster than it is, and I think they try to improve that the last game. But it's still not enough. That could be a DeMar issue. I'm not sure, but I don't know. There's a lot of different things. It's definitely Sabonis is not the rim protector that we knew he wouldn't be, but it's tough to defend the paint like that. I feel like our whole defensive strategy is to kind of cover up Sabonis because we're trying to pack the paint a little bit, and then we're late on our rotations for the 3-point open threes.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem.
Yeah, no, 100%. So really quick, Sean Cunningham reporting just 2 minutes ago the same news that we're hearing from Shams, that they are close to a deal. And then what I said, I've also received the same word that he is expected, Jay Crowder, to be in Minnesota tomorrow night. So Sean is saying the same thing that I can say as well right now, now that I've looked at my phone. So, Zach, really quick, the problem to me as well, and I was going to get to this before we got to this news because we haven't listened to any of the Coach Brown audio, is last night, the difference was in that third quarter, besides the change of the whistle, which is going to happen, that's something you can't control. The difference is the Thunder adjusted at halftime to what the Kings were doing. The Kings have not adjusted enough. And whether you want to put that on the players, whether you want to put that on the coaching, they're not adjusting to how teams are playing them. They're being reactive rather than proactive. And I mean, here's Coach Brown. We'll listen to some audio real quick about last night.
You got to, I give them a lot of credit. They had 4 straight 30-point quarters against us at a pretty high level. And at the end of the day, when you play those guys, we just have to sit down. We got to guard. We got to do a better job of containing the dribble drive, because that's what starts their whole thing is the drive. And whether it's, again, a pick and roll by a big or a pick and roll by a small, that's what they're going to do to you every single play. For us offensively, I thought we were doing the same thing in the first half. We had 17 assists. We were touching the paint. We were spraying the basketball. Our spacing was great. And then as the game went on, especially as they got a little bit of a lead, we started touching that paint and taking some tough shots. And
started touching the paint and taking some tough shots. So what do you want the guys to do? You just want them to throw the ball out every time they touch the paint, Zach?
I want to see one thing that I've also was during that run. I think the OKC was up 79-78, I believe. And with 5 minutes left in the game, Kevin Herter checks in. 3 minutes later, we're down 12. They were hunting Kevin Herter pretty bad.
100%. Yes.
And that's just his defense is just he's going to be attacked every time he's on the court. I mean, every team knows it. If he's on the court, you go at him every time. And they got a whatever that run is, 13-2 run. And I think I remember it was 92-80 at the end. So 13-2, that changed the whole game. That literally that 3-minute sprint changed the whole game.
Yeah, I want to be fair to Kevin Herter, though. I think Kevin has played pretty good this season on the defensive end. I think he's had active hands. I think he's done more good than bad, but some matchups are just absolutely worse than others.
Yep.
That being said, Keon Ellis is the better fit with that starting five, especially defensively. There's no doubt what it opens up. You saw it last night. You put Keon directly on SGA, and he did a decent job right off the bat. But when I go back to adjusting, the Kings failed to adjust the way they were guarding SGA. Yeah, they threw some doubles at him late in the game, but what they should have done early on, they didn't do until I believe like halfway through the fourth quarter, they finally put Keegan Murray on him. And it's like when we've seen the Kings play SGA, when we've seen the Kings play really great guards, especially teams that run pick and roll, usually the Kings are showing different looks constantly. And those adjustments have not been happening. So the Kings, just to your point with Kevin too, the Kings need to target those mismatches on their end as well, because they have mismatches on the other side of the floor. But instead of targeting those, sometimes we're going to touch the paint and spraying the ball.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. For that Keegan adjustment, they should have done that earlier, especially when in that third quarter when SGA was getting to the line, getting some calls. The Kings started getting frustrated. They kind of just lost their way throughout that third quarter. But adjustment wise, they are a little late on it. For Kevin, I just hope that offensively he can get it going. I 100% agree. Keon should be the guy starting. He fits better with that starting lineup. He doesn't need shots. there's plenty of shots to go in that starting lineup. But when we get to our bench, he can have a little bit more freedom. And I wish he can play the way he was free in those games where DeMar and Sabonis were out, because he was playing pretty well. He was even dribbling, making shots creating a little bit for himself. I just need him to do that off the bench. I just don't get why he just doesn't play as well off the bench, but we'll see. I mean, you are right. Also, defensively, he has been decent this year. I think that Nets game, he actually played pretty good D, for the most part. But man, he was just getting hunted for that OKC game.
Yep, they were hunting him 100%. So Jay Crowder, for his career, he's averaged 25 minutes per game. Field goal percentage for his career, 41.9%. 3-point percentage for his career, 34.8%. 2-point percentage, 51.8% for his career. You can see that highlighted line right there. So again, journeyman 3-point shooter, offensive player, not a defensive player, not explosive, not a guy that is a ISO guy. He's a catch and shooter, perimeter guy, very much like a Trey Lyles, but given the alternatives and given what this team has been dealing with, again, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, we'll take the 35% that he's shooting for three for his career. It's better than all the 30s that the whole team is shooting right now. I think Keegan and Kevin are hovering around 30. Monk is somewhere around there. I think Fox was okay at the beginning. He was hovering around 34. So we'll take 35 at this point. But I mean, hopefully his 3-point shooting comes through, because that's what we really need him for, and just to play some defense.
Well, it's another body that's a veteran in the NBA. Again, he was available. It's a reason he was available. The Kings could have chosen him originally over Doug McDermott. They didn't. But he's been able, like you just said, to shoot the ball at a decent clip. Last year, he played 50 games. Jerry Reynolds has said on the record throughout the offseason, when we started hearing Jay's name, that you would have to have minutes for him. And right now with Trey Lyles, by the way, Sean Cunningham also reporting, I want to give him credit for this because he put it out before I had heard anything. An MRI revealed a grade 1 right calf strain for Kings forward Trey Lyles, who suffered that injury last night. He will be out of action. And here's the big thing: reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks. Also, DeMar DeRozan will miss tomorrow's game due to lower back muscle inflammation and is day to day. So I saw somebody Kangs put that in the chat. I saw that as well, but Sean's confirming that. So yeah,
Jay should be getting some minutes then tomorrow.
Absolutely. You need bodies. You remember when Doug, just to give you an example really quick, and Zach, you remember this, when Doug McDermott got signed, he was in LA for the 5th preseason game the next day. In fact, Doug flew in to Sacramento. We reported on it before. The deal came together the night before. The deal came together the night of the Utah preseason game. Doug then flew into Sacramento the next morning, spent the day doing his physical, meeting with the team, etc. Then flew to LA, got there late that night, the night before the game, met with Jay Triano, went through some offensive stuff, and ended up playing heavy minutes in that final preseason game. So I would expect Jay Crowder, and with this offense, Zach, and we'll listen to Coach Brown again here in a second, but with this offense that is touch the paint, spray the ball, and Jay being a veteran of this league, he should be getting minutes tomorrow, Guru. You there, Guru? We're losing the Guru again. All right, we lost the Guru. We'll trade the Guru out for John. John, welcome in.
Ryan, how are you, buddy?
Good. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing all right building this big old deck, but I just wanted to chime in on kind of what's going on with the Kings a little bit. And with Coach Brown. I like him, but I don't like him as much as I used to. He seems extremely stubborn. He's so stuck on the ways of coaching his system rather than coaching the system that the guys play. You know what I mean? If you're a football team and you've got a crappy running back, you're not going to run it up the middle a lot. You're going to have probably a more efficient passing game. I don't see why we get guys getting into the hole and then the spray three. I am so sick of hearing that spray three. When we get into the paint, the first option should be go get 2 points. If there's 3 guys in your way, kick it out. There's somebody going to be wide open, not just somewhat open, but wide open for 3. I mean, does that make sense to you guys, or what?
Yeah, John, really quick, the Kings are number 2 in the NBA in 2-point percentage. Number 2. So you're straying away from that. And also, there's the free throw element as well. The Kings have gotten to the free throw line so much more this year. In fact, up 20.1% in made free throws, and that's a result of the Kings being aggressive inside.
And hey, part of that is a result of DeMar DeRozan coming on our team, and he shoots free throws very well. And it's a competitive. Guys are competitive. They want to shoot free throws well too. So it'll rub off. Stuff like that rubs off on guys, on teammates and stuff. So it just seems to me, Coach Brown, he's very stubborn, set in his ways. This isn't the Golden State Warriors team. We don't got Steph and Clay, and I understand they got Steph and Clay. That'd be a great way to go. But when you don't got those guys, you need to take the guys that you do have and make them do what they do well. If we send Keegan out and let him stand on the corner all game like he did a couple years ago, he's going to make more open threes. But his job now is so much bigger than it was then. He plays the elite offensive player damn near every night on our team. So it just makes me wonder, Coach Brown frustrates the hell out of me is what I'm getting at. And he needs, in my opinion, to change his ways. And I think the team would fully agree with that. The team, you could see the look in their eyes. I know you can, Ryan. Damn near everybody can. And we could hear Coach Brown still saying it. Kick it out. Damn it, man. Just get to the freaking hole and make some baskets. Jerry Reynolds, I swear to God, he said the team who scores more points will win. Well, right. I swear to God, you add up a bunch of 2s that go, they're going to be more than a bunch of 3s that don't. So it's frustrating. However, the season is still very, very early. I mean, sure, we just went on a 4-game losing streak. In 2 weeks, we might go on a 4-game winning streak or 8-game winning streak, but it could be a 5-game losing streak too. It's so early in the season still. This is why we play them. But man, it's becoming more and more frustrating to me, anyways.
No, I hear you. Here was Coach Brown last night.
I thought Keon was solid.
That's not the one.
I just thought it was.
Let's see. Here is Coach Brown.
Keon was solid.
I'd say against Brooklyn, it was just our overall sense of urgency because we didn't. Our game plan, the way we didn't play in the second half last night was the same. There was a sense of urgency of us getting to shooters last night, and in that first quarter alone, their 2 hot guys hit 3 threes because we closed out short with our hands down. And when you have guys like Cam Thomas and Cam Johnson, but especially Cam Thomas, who's a streak scorer, when they see the first couple go in that easy, it's hard to slow down. And tonight, again, we have to control the dribble drive, because if you don't control the dribble drive and Shea gets in there against almost anybody, he's going to score, he's going to get fouled. So you got to send help over. And when you send help over, way Hartenstein is playing that pocket area, you got to send somebody else to protect there. And they don't get bored touching the paint, drawing a second defender, and spraying it.
So it's almost like a little bit of a passive aggressive thing. Like, they don't get bored of touching the paint and spraying it, yet they weren't spraying it as much as Coach Brown made it seem, because Hartenstein was finishing a lot around the rim with some of those floaters. But hey, John, appreciate you, brother.
Well, hey, another thing, Hartenstein, he doesn't miss the 2-footers. That's where he plays. He plays 2 feet from the basket. So that I understand. And just like Brown just said, they didn't change at halftime. Look, every other team, they make adjustments at halftime. It seems like Brown, he says, well, keep shooting, keep shooting, keep shooting. It's not going, keep shooting. I mean, hey, we all say it, that if you continue with the same thing that doesn't work, it's moronic. It just ain't. It's not going to be sustainable. You're not going to take all these guys and tell them practice threes all game. You get good at threes, and then you'll work into my system. Forget your system, Mike. You need to work with the men you have and let them be good at what they do. We've got a good roster. In my opinion, we've got a better roster than we had last year. Maybe not as deep, but our starters are better. And if you want a deeper roster, what do you want to trade Sabonis, for a bunch of roster players? That's not what we want to do. Or DeRozan or anybody. We could trade 2 guys, 2 starters, and get 5 bench players. Well, that isn't really what we want either. So it's a little bit of give and take the way I see it.
Amen.
But Ryan, like we all say, buddy, this is why we play him, man. And hey, how about them Cowboys, huh?
Oh, how about what was that, John? What was that, buddy?
You heard it. Hey, man, I don't get to say it all that much this year, but that fourth quarter the other day was one of the funnest football games I've ever watched, win or lose. I don't expect all that much from the Cowboys, but when you're playing a division rival, that fourth quarter was so freaking fun to watch. I'm going to go watch it again next time I see it on NFL replay. And I only need to watch the fourth. I don't need to watch, everything. But
love it, dude.
That was
love
pretty,
it, Johnny.
That was pretty fun. And hey,
that was a good game.
And hey,
all right.
Hey, buddy, the Irish looking good. My Irish, your Irish looking good, buddy. I'd like to see that too.
Love it, brother. All right. Be well, Johnny. Making it better all the time. John
right on,
Finch
brother. Thank you.
From the work site, legendary fan here in Sacramento. Got to love you some John Finch. The breaking news, if you are just joining us, the Kings, they are signing Jay Crowder. According to Shams, according to Sean Cunningham here of Fox 40, ABC 10, or Fox 40 and the Kings Beat podcast. Also, a couple of notes. He is expected to meet, and I can confirm the same, the team in Minnesota for the game tomorrow. And no, by the way, no DeMar DeRozan tomorrow night. Trey Lyles, grade 1 calf strain. Grade 1 calf strain. He will be reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks. Reevaluated. That's the big word there. Won't be back. Reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks. So we're going to get ready to wrap up here in a few minutes. The Kings making another move today, adding another veteran player who is available and on the market, a veteran shooter, really a spot up guy for the most part, brings you a little bit of attitude, does not make your defense any better, but he is another body, and the Kings desperately need bodies right now. Also, really quick, while we have a minute, wanted to remind you that Bennett's is going to be open this Thanksgiving. If you're thinking about going out to dinner, make sure that you go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Check out their Thanksgiving offerings. Open 11 to 7 tomorrow, all 3 locations in the greater Sacramento area. If you're thinking about not cooking, Bennett's is still the place for you. You can order family meals hot and ready to go. You can put your pre-orders in on their website at Bennett'sRestaurants.com. They are delicious. They do the work. You kick your feet up and enjoy the food, the family, and the football this holiday week. Also, make sure you don't forget about their specials throughout the week. Happy hour, weekend brunch, prime rib on the weekends, and prime cuts of seafood and steak. Always available for you at Bennett's and Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring today's episode of the King's Court, which took a completely different turn. Open forum tonight, 8 o'clock with Grant. I will likely be joining him, considering the Kings have a lot of news that has come out. So At the very least, Grant will be here tonight, 8 o'clock. He might be grumpy. He's on the tail end of a 72-hour water fast. Good for him to make it through that. Incredible. I love it. So Grant's here at 8 o'clock. I will probably join him as well to discuss all the news that is broke on the Kings today. Man, we had so much more to get to that we have not gotten to, considering the news that has broken. If you're just tuning in, Jay Crowder, journeyman NBA shooter. We put up his percentages. We can put them up one more time for you to go over. Most recently, Jay Crowder played. Let me minimize myself so you guys can see this. Jay Crowder most recently played for the Milwaukee Bucks last season. He played in 50 games for the Bucks, averaged 23.1 minutes a game, 6.2 points per game, 42.2% from the field, 34.9% from the three-point line, 3.2 rebounds per game, 1.3 assists. He's a 6'6" wing. He is going to be probably eating up the minutes that Trey Lyles was getting. He's really somewhere in between a Doug McDermott and Trey Lyles, closer to Doug McDermott than Trey Lyles. Tail end of his career, he has a 6'9" wingspan, does not give you a ton on defense, does not make you better there, but certainly has been known to shoot the ball, has a little bit of grit to him as well, 34 years old, was available on the market, worked out with the Kings in September. Kings ultimately decided to sign Doug McDermott, but with the news of Trey Lyles' injury today, Jay Crowder headed to the Kings on a one-year deal. We will be back later tonight to discuss all of it and dig into the details. I didn't even get to Jerry Jones today. What the heck? How did I not get to Jerry Jones on a Tuesday? I had so much Jerry noise, so much sound from him. We'll get to that maybe tomorrow since we've had so much news break today on the show. But don't forget, Grant is going to be back 8 o'clock tonight. Let's get to the last of the questions, and we are going to get out of here on a Tuesday. BJ finally checking in. What's going on? What were the strong words by Monk? Just that it really was not anything too strong. Just that, to me, the strongest thing that Malik said, in fact, a lot of the people that you hear from on social media that cover this team are talking about that Malik and De'Aaron and DeMar are going to address the team in Minnesota. That's something that's been happening throughout the season. This, though, however, if I have the right drop here, this is what struck me the most about Malik in his comments last night. I think this was the strongest thing he said. He was asked if he's worried about this team right now.
No concerns. We just got to lock in from the get-go and play 48 minutes. We played 3 quarters a lot and never finished with four quarters playing all the way through. So if we play 48 minutes, I think we'd be all right.
So there you go. That was the strongest comment. He is not worried about this team. Play it one more time for you.
No concerns. We just got to lock in from the get-go and play 48 minutes. We played 3 quarters a lot and never finished with four quarters playing all the way through. So if we play 48 minutes, I think we'd be all right.
So that is what Malik Monk had to say last night after the game. A lot of people talking about this, though, BJ.
I feel like we got a veteran team now with a few young guys, so we know how to turn it around. Domas going to say a few things. I'm going to say a few things. Fox will say a few things. And DeMar will say a few things. So we got to turn it around quick, though.
Why can't you guys? What's the issue here at home? 4-6 at home. Like, you guys usually are really good here at the Golden One Center.
Shit, I don't know.
Simple as that?
Yeah.
You said you guys are going to say something, or you have said something?
We're going to say something. Okay. I feel like we always say something after every loss. So tomorrow we'll probably say something when we get to Minnesota.
So that's what's going around the most. But him not being concerned about the team, that is what was strong to me. Those were the strong words. That's what I led with. Cooper Rush is the future. Interesting. Jerry talked about the quarterback position and the future today. He said you guys are locked in. Dak Prescott's one of the best of all time.
Has really done a good job. I've always just hated it for him that he didn't get that Super Bowl that he.
Oh, he's talking about Washington's coach. Hey, you know he did get a Super Bowl. You know that, right? With Seattle, Jerry. That was going to be one of the things I got on Jerry for today. We can play Jerry Jones roulette. There is plenty of sound from Jerry today that is worth playing.
In my mind, we have an outstanding future ahead of us. We have, not to take anything away from the guys that are going to be playing the rest of the year, but we have one of the top quarterbacks that's played this game in my mind. And you build around that.
Is that what you want to build around, Cowboys fans? I don't know about that, but undoubtedly, in all seriousness, this was the most important thing that Jerry said all day. The most important. And it's so true. Jerry, here's your damn flowers.
They know that when we make that presentation out there with that red kettle, we are a part of 4.5 million volunteers in this country. Salvation Army gives us credit for incrementally raising over $3 billion since 1997 because of the visibility of that game. And so we served 166 million meals, Salvation Army did, and those dollars in that red kettle are the reason that they can financially support that. So this is a big day.
Good job. Seriously, great job by Jerry Jones, Salvation Army, all involved. I know I joke about that red kettle. That's brought a lot of good to a lot of people. So great job, Jerry Jones. Look, it's something we have talked about at length. Depth is an issue for this team. That is why the Kings are signing Jay Crowder right now. Some are going to call this a panic signing because of the way the team was constructed. Others, Grant and I have talked about Devin Carter in that draft pick, and it's completely unfair because we don't know if Devin Carter is going to turn out and be good. But this is a right now team. Dalton Connect was available to you. Dalton Connect was turnkey ready to play. And that's not something that we know because he's had success with the Lakers. That was something that was widely talked about, something that was in his draft profile. He had played out basically his eligibility in college. He had played a little bit of everything. A guy that went from JC to a smaller school, then to Tennessee. Just like Tristan Da Silva at Colorado, who the Kings were also very high on. Turnkey ready, playing minutes for the Magic. That was not a surprise. You knew that. In fact, Dalton Connect fell, according to some, in the draft because of his age. Dalton Connect was at a position that the Kings needed. That was their position of need. It was not guard. Yet they chose guard. They went best available. Now, it's unfair to sit back and Monday morning quarterback and say not only does it look like right now he may have been the position of need and best player available. We won't know because of Devin Carter, but I can tell you this team needs scoring. And Grant's been all over this, so give him credit for it. This team needs scoring, and Dalton would have brought you more depth on that forward line. Now, not a power forward, but it would have helped the problem. I don't think Mike Brown has lost the locker room. I think anybody who believes that needs to think about that and look at things again. Mike has not lost the locker room. They would not have re-signed Mike with time left on his deal if he had lost the locker room. Malik Monk wouldn't have come back to Sacramento if he had lost the locker room, especially with the whole stuff about Malik and starting versus coming off the bench and not getting the start. Malik would have gone somewhere else. Would he have needed to take a pay cut? Maybe. But at the end of the day, Mike needs to, I think John said a lot of things that hit home. I think some of the strategies with this team need to be reevaluated. You got to give Mike credit for at least putting Keon into the starting lineup. Something many of us said should have been the starter from the start of the season. But I think the one thing Mike has struggled at this season is adjustments. The adjustments have not been there. That was the root of the problem that I was going to get to before we got the news about Jay Crowder. Urs Lau. The Magic drafted Tristan Da Silva after the Kangs, and he plays great right now. Correct. Turnkey ready player. A player that was a senior. Played out his 5 years in college. Same thing for Dalton Connect. Was ready. BJ, Devin Carter. Hope he is as good as or better than Keon. A lot of pressure on the kid. Yeah, there is a lot of pressure indirectly on this kid now. Absolutely. This was a team that is a right now team. Right now, because you've got DeMar DeRozan towards the end of his career. You have De'Aaron Fox for a year and a half under contract. And you have Keegan Murray for a year and a half under contract. It's a right now team. It's not a team that has the luxury of waiting around, especially because this team did not make any significant moves at the last 2 trade deadlines. None of us know what moves could have been available for the Kings and how that would have possibly changed their core. But the NBA is ever evolving. The teams at the top of this league are shaking things up. They don't stand pat. And what I can tell you is the last 2 years, the 2 teams that have been below the Kings in the standings at the All-Star break, at the trade deadline, made the moves that the Kings, in my opinion, should have made, or similar moves to them that did not cost those teams very much in collateral. At most, a first-round draft pick. And you know what happened? Both of those teams, one of them, the Lakers 2 years ago, made it to the Western Conference Finals. Last year, the Mavericks made it to the NBA Finals. So this has not been a this year thing. You got to look at the entire sample. And I think Monty has done more good than bad here in Sacramento. But there's been a lot leading up to this with the depth. So don't want to go too much down that road. Don't want to get too negative here. The big news again, Jay Crowder heading to the Sacramento Kings. Will meet them in Milwaukee tomorrow. Veteran journeyman shooter, 6'6", 3-point specialist, very similar to a Doug McDermott. Has a little bit more grit than Doug McDermott, in my opinion. Jerry Reynolds has said the one hang-up about having Jay Crowder on your team is you need minutes for him. There is certainly minutes available for him right now. with everything going on. Trey Lyles will be reevaluated 3 to 4 weeks with a grade 1 calf strain. DeMar DeRozan will be out tomorrow night because of his lower back. So the Kings need help. They need bodies, and they get it in the form of Jay Crowder. I don't understand why every option, including trading stars away, is on the table. I guess McNair isn't that kind of tough GM. Well, I don't think it's fair to say that. You know why it's not fair to say that? Is that McNair traded Hallie for Domas to make this team better. So he has shown that he is willing to trade pieces that are considered valuable, that are considered to be pieces of the future, pieces that you build around rather than build with. So Monty has made that move before, but I don't think, and we've talked about this many times, I don't think any move is off the table. I think the only moves that are off the table for this Kings team are the ones that are off the table because of the financial numbers attached to them, like Domas. I don't think you're moving Domas. I think Keegan Murray is very much in play if things continue the way they have been this season so far, 2 games under 500. And we're getting down way too different of a path right now. The big news is that Jay Crowder is headed to Sacramento. And again, Jay Crowder does not change the trajectory of this team. Jay Crowder gives you another healthy body at a position of need and gives you a little bit more on the bench for this team. A guy that worked out with the Kings in September. Kings ultimately chose Doug McDermott. So Jay will be meeting the team, according to Sean Cunningham, tomorrow in Minnesota. You can expect he's probably going to get some minutes. We thought tomorrow was really good pickup. Didn't we? We had high hopes. Okay, we're talking in past tense, y'all. We got to stop talking in past tense. Yes, they are 2 games out of 500 and 2 games out of the play-in. A lot of basketball still left to play. This might be unpopular, but if the Kings do not make the playoffs this year, I think it's best for Fox to leave and win on another team. Hurts to see him grinding in his prime without winning. Well, that might not be up to the Kings. That might be up to De'Aaron, or that could be up to the Kings. I don't think we're there yet. I think we've still got a lot of basketball left to play. And I do believe De'Aaron is playing the best basketball of his career since 22-23. The best basketball in the last year and a half De'Aaron has been playing in the last 3 or 4 weeks. When De'Aaron Fox's assists are right around his 3-point attempts, you are getting the best version of De'Aaron Fox. Now, what you can't have happen is you can't allow De'Aaron Fox to walk for nothing. And you know winning is important to De'Aaron. I reported it in June that he would not be signing an extension because, one, he wanted to bet on himself and try to get the Supermax, but 2, he wanted to see how this roster develops because he wants to win. So that is important to De'Aaron. So it's a consideration, but you can't let what happened with Bogey happen with De'Aaron. But again, we're way far out from any of these things. Right now, we're talking Jay Crowder coming to Sacramento. Right, if the other team adjusts to you, then you need to, in turn, adjust to that. It's like playing chess. Absolutely. No doubt. So we're going to get ready to wrap up. Again, let's see. Big stuff here. Big stuff. Well, at least it's another body. Jay Crowder, NBA veteran, journeyman, played for numerous teams, most recently the Milwaukee Bucks. Last season, played 50 games for them, 23.1 minutes per game, averaged 6.2 points per game, 42.2% from the field, 34.9% from beyond the arc. That is his specialty. Does not make your defense any better, but does give you another perimeter shooter that's at the tail end of his career, 6'6" guy, forward, 6'9" wingspan, has been available on the open market. But the Kings, with the news of Trey Lyles being reevaluated, Trey Lyles out and being reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks with a grade 1 calf strain, the Kings were in desperate need of bolstering their bench. This was the easiest way to do it. This does not change the Kings' trajectory. It gives you another person on the bench, somebody with NBA experience, somebody that can step in and play right away. And I think Jay Crowder is going to be asked to play right away. If you're just joining us right now, Jerry Reynolds and I talked about this move a lot in the preseason and in the offseason. Jerry's biggest objection to Jay Crowder coming to Sacramento was that you needed minutes for Jay Crowder. And as we sit right now with Trey Lyles out for at least 3 to 4 weeks, he'll be reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks. Jay Crowder gives you that. He has minutes available to him. He will probably be seeing a decent amount of the minutes. Here's the deal. We're going to be back at 8 o'clock tonight. Make sure you come back. We're going to get Grant's take on this. We'll talk much more about Jay Crowder, the acquisition, the news about Trey Lyles. Talk about this team being under 500, 2 games, 4-game losing skid. We'll talk a little bit about tomorrow night's game in Minnesota. Also, no DeMar DeRozan in that game as well. But join us again, 8 p.m. tonight, right here on If You Don't Like That. If you are not subscribed, do us a favor. Become a subscriber on the channel. Doesn't cost you anything. We're not going to creep into your DMs or anything like that. You can find all of our programming right there, especially our game day programming. Also, we do much more than game day programming. You got the Kings Court live here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 p.m. And Wednesdays, big days here on the channel outside of games where we do pregame, halftime, and postgame. 3 o'clock, Sean Salisbury joins Grant to talk NFL and college football. And then 4 p.m., Jerry Reynolds joins us for our weekly Kings Roundtable on Wednesday. So lots of content to consume. And make sure also that you are subscribed to the Kings Court podcast. It's not just the audio from the live show. You get exclusive audio from me most times in the mornings after we've digested a game. We've heard from the players. I've talked to my sources. It's a free Kings Insider podcast. Come check it out. Would love to have you. It's available on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. That is the Kings Court with Rhino. Again, we're back 8 o'clock tonight talking the Jay Crowder move, Trey Lyles. Busy day here in Sacramento. Thank you so much all for being here today on the Kings Court. Can't wait to see you at 8 o'clock tonight with Grant talking the big news of the day. Jay Crowder headed to the Sacramento Kings per Shams and Sean Cunningham. Make it a great day. Go Kings. Light the damn beam. Still, please stay the hell away from Levine. Court is dismissed on a Tuesday.